And first at 5, members of Portland's Asian American community are raising concerns this evening after a member of their community was recently shot in Portland. The man had tracked down his stolen car and was trying to recover it when he was shot. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Laurel Porter. Just in the last hour, members of the Asian American community met with police to discuss how officers responded to this incident. They're concerned because officers were at the scene but left before the shooting happened. Tim Gordon's in Southeast Portland for us, where the meeting drew a big crowd. Tim?
Yeah, Laurel, it was an overflow cloud of people at a local restaurant here off of 82nd Avenue, with people sharing concerns about the police response leading up to this shooting. We need to say at the outset that there are not a lot of verified details into exactly what happened, but we do know 2 people were shot. The meeting inside the restaurant was a chance for community members to be heard and ask some questions, even if there are not a lot of answers yet. The Portland Police Bureau does confirm that a shooting at Southeast 122nd and Holgate last Friday night injured 2 men. One of those men had gone to the location to retrieve his stolen car. That man is of Chinese descent, and according to leaders of the Chinese American community, he's still in the hospital with serious injuries. Neil Lee told us on Thursday that officers arrived and ultimately did not help the man get his car back. And after they left, Lee said a gunfight broke out. But at this point, it's unclear exactly who was shooting and why. Police are still investigating and not commenting about the details of the case. And we also can't say yet why officers cleared the scene when they did. That leaves people to wonder and want to be heard.
The message is that we need the police bureau and the city to listen to the community, because the community feels that they're not listened to and nothing's happening. So they want some assurances and some comfort to know that the police bureau and the city cares about the Chinese community, about the Asian community.
We also spoke with Portland Police Association President Aaron Schmautz, who came to the meeting. He said he understands the concerns coming from a community that has seen a surge in bias crimes in the past few years. And although there is a ways to go investigating this situation, including the police response, Schmautz says police need to do all they can to connect.
There's different timelines, and certainly investigative timelines don't meet up with the need to very quickly and transparently talk about impact on community. And so I think it's important for law enforcement to be available and to be able to hear and to be able to discuss what we can discuss and also build that trust.
Police Chief Chuck Lavelle did attend this meeting via Zoom. Other officials did as well, some in person. The Police Bureau already released a statement saying that they've been visiting and meeting with community members throughout the week on this, and they are assuring a full investigation. We'll give you more details as we get them. Back to you.
Appreciate your reporting on this. Thank you, Tim. Well, new violence overnight in Portland's Old Town neighborhood. Dozens of shots were fired just after 2 a.m. This was on Northwest 4th Avenue between Everett and Davis. Bullets hit a building, several parked cars, but police say there were no reports, thankfully, of any injuries. They have arrested 2 people. You might remember a woman was stabbed to death Tuesday morning in the very same area. The suspect in that case, another woman, has been arrested and charged.
A Southeast Portland man accused of killing a well-known left-wing activist went before a judge for the first time today. Mike Benner was in the courtroom, and he joins us from outside the Justice Center. Mike, any word yet on a possible motive in this case?
Yeah, detectives aren't saying a whole lot other than they do not believe this is politically motivated, and this might come as a surprise to some people because the victim is well known as an activist in the Portland area. Now, the suspect in this case made a brief court appearance this afternoon. It lasted only a couple of minutes. 47-year-old Christopher Knipe was arrested Thursday after confessing earlier this summer to killing Sean Kellier back in October 2019. Now, as far as what happened the night Kellier was killed, authorities say he and some friends spent some time at a bar called Cider Riot. That's in Northeast Portland. It's known as a left-wing hangout, although it has since closed. As Kellier and his friends walked to their car that night, they got into a confrontation with 3 other men, including Christopher Knipe. Court documents say Knipe then got into a vehicle and mowed down Kellier before fleeing the area. All of this playing out in front of the building that housed the Democratic Party of Oregon. Knipe had no explanation for the crime, telling detectives he blacked out before running down Kellier. Here's how the victim was remembered in the days following his death.
He was a good friend, and he smiled a lot. He was a very dedicated member of his community. He was always there for you if you needed help.
All right, Christopher Knipe is charged with 1 count of murder in the 2nd degree. He did not enter a plea during today's court appearance. He's due back in court on August 15th. Let's send it back to you.
Thank you, Mike. The driver of a MAX train didn't stop at the end of their line this morning, injuring themselves and 2 passengers. TriMet says the injuries don't appear to be life-threatening. The crash happened during the morning commute at the intersection of McLaughlin Boulevard and Park Avenue at the end of the orange MAX line. The train crashed into a safety barrier stop and buckled the concrete. After seeing the damage, Joe, a regular MAX rider, said he may consider driving to work now.
The light rail looked like it pushed past the spring stopper and jumped up onto the concrete. Another 20 feet, it could have been detrimental into the street.
The train will be removed from service. It will be fully inspected.
Engineers and investigators are now working to figure out what caused the crash.
All right, let's bring in meteorologist Chris McGinnis now. Chris, it is a gorgeous Friday out there right now, but the heat is headed our way. What does the timing look like?
Yeah, Saturday we begin to ratchet up into the 90s, and then, David, we've got a heat advisory in effect for Sunday and Monday. So I'll step out of the way and show you. That heat advisory basically impacts the entire Portland, Vancouver metro area, Clark County, good chunk of Washington County, Clackamas County, Columbia River Gorge, and the upper Hood River Valley. This goes into effect noon Sunday through 8 p.m. Monday. For high temperatures on the order of 97 to as hot as 102. I don't think Portland gets to 102, but let me give you your weekend forecast here. I've got us sunny and breezy tomorrow with a high of about 93, and then hazy and hot on Sunday with a high of about 100 degrees or so here in Portland. The record high for Sunday, by the way, is 104, set back in 1972. I don't think we're going to do that, thankfully, but 100 is hot enough, right? Also to note this weekend that there is a fire weather watch in effect Saturday and Sunday for the I-5 corridor from Longview South to Eugene and a good chunk of the Cascade foothills as well. As the breeze picks up tomorrow, the relative humidity is going to drop and the temperatures are going to rise. So that's going to take that dry fuel that's on the ground right now and make it drier. And with the expected increase in wind, anything that could throw a spark could easily start a fire. So just be aware of that tomorrow. The wind is also going to pick up a little bit. We've got north wind gusts on the order of about 20 miles an hour or so in the valley. Right now, it's gorgeous. It's 83. Your full forecast comes up in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, triple digits coming. A little bit of good news in Wasco County, where evacuations has now been downgraded by 1 level at the Miller Road fire. That means level 3 evacs, which are go, they've been downgraded to level 2. Level 2 has become 1. And so on. The fire near Maupin has burned more than 11,000 acres. Not really much change in the last 24 hours. It is now 25% contained, and fire crews say they are cautiously optimistic as they make good progress. Now, a separate and smaller fire that broke out on the east end of the Dalles yesterday is also now under control. Firefighters still working to prevent any hotspots there from flaring up.
In financial news, today the White House is touting an astonishingly strong new jobs report. U.S. employers added 528,000 jobs last month. For context, economists only expected half that, around 250,000 new jobs. The report is easing fears of recession and also comes as welcome news to President Joe Biden. He emphasized the impact of coronavirus relief efforts and the infrastructure bill on job recovery.
528,000 jobs were added just last month to this country's employment. 528,000 jobs. We have now nearly doubled what we're almost at 10 million jobs. Almost at 10 million jobs since I took office. That's the fastest job growth in history.
Unemployment also returned to its pre-pandemic level of 3.5%, matching a 50-year low. The economy's now recovered all the jobs lost when COVID first hit the U.S.
Well, let's get to the Washington primary, where we are keeping a close eye on Congressional District 3, and that's because the gap between incumbent Jamie Herrera Butler and Trump-endorsed Joe Kent continues to narrow, and it has even in the last couple hours here. Herrera Butler hanging on to second place. You see 23.1% of the vote, but look at this Kent less than 1 point behind their 22.4%. Democratic challenger Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez firmly in first. The AP projecting she moves on to November. Now, as of last night, Clark County said there were still some 60,000 ballots left to process. Remember, in Washington, the top two candidates advanced the general regardless of party. We're going to be keeping a close eye on